everyone? Spot of Nerd here with another brand new episode from yours truly. This one's gonna be a little bit more on the heavy side, so I just gotta kind of give you a little preemptive warning, I guess, in a manner of speaking. Not much editing, of course, because I just want to keep it kind of more on the serious side. I will keep it as brief as I can, but I do think it is extremely important to talk about right now, especially with the way the world is in society. But who knows? This might survive on YouTube. It might not. I don't know. So we'll kind of have to play it by ear. But I think it is very important to talk about the most recent leak of the Manifesto from the Nashville shooter that occurred this past March of 2023. Because, you know, when this happened, we talked about it a little bit. You can go back. I think I did more of a podcast in relation to it. But I think what's really important here is I don't know how to describe it properly other than just the tactics of trying to hide it. It's scary. It's absolutely scary, and it should hopefully, hopefully is the wrong word. I hope it puts a fear in you as well, just in relation to the fact that the higher authorities, whoever they may be, they wanted this hidden. And we all knew why this happened. But the fact that you cannot find this anywhere. They blocked it on Instagram, they blocked it on YouTube, they blocked it on Facebook, they blocked it on Google. You can't find this anywhere. And I dip my hat, even though it's backwards. Steven Crowder, I've mentioned him before, his show Louder with Crowder in the mornings, every morning, through Mug Club, which is his brand. I mean, so much respect and thank yous to his staff, to him, to what he does. You know, a lot of people despise him. They despise people like us just because we have a different viewpoint. And he was able to get the Manifesto from the shooter, which we never knew anything about, you know, in terms of anytime there is gun violence, anytime there is a mass shooting, there usually is some reason why. And it's whether you follow me, whether you follow other stations, conservatives, content influencers, whatever it might be, there's always the agenda. There's always before the bodies are even room temperature, they're pushing gun legislation, gun control, gun control, gun control. And I think if the biggest thing, you know, I will, for the safety, of course, of my job, I have to, there's no way I would ever read what it was on here. Trust me, if you go on, it is on X, aka Twitter, you can read it, at least the partial piece of it that was quote unquote leaked by Crowder. And I think again, it's not anything we're not surprised about, you know. And what I think I've taken away from this whole thing that's been going on the last 48 hours is, you know, if you watch Crowder's show, not only are they backing all their resources, but they're also mentioning the fact that to simplify it down to the most basic aspect, if it was fake, why are we not being given the correction? Why is nobody refuting it? That is the biggest kind of takeaway I'm getting from all of this, is the fact that everybody's trying to hide it, everybody's trying to block it, everybody's trying to say, you know, whatever it might be. But the bottom line is, nobody is denying it. And what I mean by nobody, I mean, of course, your internet people are going to deny it. But I'm talking about the police departments, the FBI, all the people that should be kind of giving you reassurance in relation to whether this is fake or this is real. They're not doing anything but trying to hide it. And they are censoring anybody that tries to push it. They are blocking anybody that tries to push it. Like, wow. And I think, again, there's probably going to be some broken record moments throughout this episode, but wow. it's one of those things, you know, if it wasn't real, why are you adamant on making sure the public doesn't see it? It's crazy to think about, because not only that, but I think my own 2 cents regarding it, my own thought behind it, to kind of put my own stamp on it, I guess. You know, I gotta be careful, you know, with what you say, because it's such a interesting thing to, I guess, deal with right now. But the way I also see it, the whole gun legislation, the whole gun control aspect kind of goes out the window. And I don't mean that in a literal sense. I don't mean that in a disrespectful sense or anything like that. I am actually advocating, you know me. I obviously advocate. I do believe you should have the right to bear arms. If you are not familiar with how the process works, I encourage you to look it up. You can't just buy these things unless you're illegally buying them off the street. Like, that's just not how it works. But what it does come down to is, anytime something like this happens, it's usually they blame the gun. The guns are the issue. Well, if you read this manifesto, it is basically proving that both sides of the coin literally are the reasons why these are happening. And what I mean by that is, both sides of the coin are the human aspect. Humans are doing this, not the guns. Guns are not killing people. They are simply a means to destroy life. No different than a car would be. No different than taking too many medications. No different than stabbing somebody. But there also needs to be accountability. This is for any aspect of your own life. I truly believe accountability is borderline non-existent in today's world. And it scares the shit out of me. Whether it's, you know, we won't go down that road. But the bottom line is, we need to decipher good versus evil. We need to decipher thought and, I don't know, collective agreement on something. There's a word for it. I can't remember I don't really recall what the word is. But the bottom line is, it's the psychological aspect of being controlled through your television to believe one thing, and then if somebody so much as steps out of line, destroy that person. Destroy everything about that person. We've got to get away from that. We really, really do. Or if anything, we've got to come together and figure out a way to move forward. So, again, I might be going off at a bit of a tangent, so I apologize. I just wanted to kind of get this little spiel out, because I think it is so important to at least address it. That not only do we now know the truth, we know it's the truth because nobody's trying to refute it. We also know it's the truth because they're trying to get rid of every ounce of this leak possible. And at the same time, it again is just furthering the proof that there is a level of corruption going on right now in this country that is staggering. It's absolutely mind-boggling to think about the level of corruption that is happening right now. Whenever something like this happens, a horrible thing happens, a situation happens, it's humans that are doing this. It's not inanimate objects. You know, look at what's happening in Israel right now, everything in between there. It's horrible. It's absolutely tragic. But it was human beings that decided to go and kill and murder 1,400 people. This isn't rocket science. You know, it's tragedy. It's horrible. It's absolutely terrible. But why do we continue to punish those who are trying to do good, those who have free thought, those who are just simply trying to, I guess, be their own individual self? Why are we punishing this? You gotta tread lightly, of course, with any of these topics that we're talking about. So I encourage you to look this information up. I mean, realistically, I probably wouldn't say go look up this manifesto unless you really want to see some pretty horrible things. But ultimately, I think this needed to happen. This needed to happen because we are getting ever so closer to a state in which we are repeating some of the worst times in history. Whether it's Nazi Germany, Stalin, we are repeating things that we never ever thought we would ever repeat. And that should scare the living daylights out of you. And you should know what's going on so that you can do something about it. Now, to be clear, I'm not recommending violence. I'm not recommending any sort of bad nature. I'm just simply making sure that you are aware, you are knowledgeable on it, you have your facts versus your fiction. But at the same time, you can still do something about it. Voting, making sure you vote for the right people, get the right folks in office, blah, 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 volunteer, give your time, your energy, etc. in positive ways. This isn't, again, this is not rocket science, but my conclusion with all this, I have to just give so much credit to Louder with Crowder, Steven Crowder and his crew who made this possible, because regardless of how you feel about it, you know, like this should have never come out. There are people that say, yes, this should have been out months ago when it initially started to happen. But ultimately, this was buried. They did not want this to get out to the public. Both sides have their issues. Both sides have their evil. And we need to start calling that what it is, evil. Hopefully, there is more good than evil. And I will simply leave you with that. So, huge thank you for watching. I hope this kind of made sense. If it didn't, it's just who I am. It's what Spot of Nerd is. But super appreciate those of you that are watching. Let me know your thoughts. Honestly, I would love to know. Throw it down in the comments. You know, give us a subscribe so you don't miss any future content, because this is something we're going to most definitely be talking more about in the future. So, huge thank you, and we will see you guys next time. Later, y'all.